Today I want to talk about the difference between hip external rotation and hip internal rotation. I talk a lot about how pitchers want to have an externally rotated hip as they're going down the mound to engage the glutes more and to sequence up the rest of the delivery. But a lot of times, I'll get questions from guys on Instagram and Twitter asking me, what exactly is external rotation? What does that look like? How do I practice it? So today I just want to show you exactly what external rotation is and what internal rotation is. So for example, as the pitcher is going down the mound, an externally rotated hip is going to be the knee going outwards. Internally rotated would be the knee rotating inwards, okay? So think about it as a pitcher. If I'm internally rotating that hip, my knee is going to crash towards home immediately, just like that. Externally rotated would be keeping more of a vertical shin as I'm going down the mound. You can see my back hip is shifting towards home, but this knee is staying vertical as I'm going down the mound. So what you're going to find is, by having that back leg externally rotated more, you're going to engage your back glute more as opposed to caving that front knee too soon. Then you're going to become more quad dominant. So the glute muscles are what's going to help you sequence the delivery better. So I like to have guys think about spreading the floor. I got that line from Driveline in one of their Plus videos, as well as Hacking the Connect Chain, which is a great book by Matt Daniels and Kyle Bodie. But the spread the floor, it's similar to when you're working out. If you're squatting or you're deadlifting, you think about having your feet in the ground, and without actually moving them, you're thinking about screwing your feet into the ground and rotating them externally or outwardly. And that's just a good feeling to have as you're going down the mound. The longer you can hold that, the longer you're going to be able to stay closed, and everything's going to build up and sequence up earlier in the delivery. External rotation is something that you're looking for in the back hip as you're going down the mound. But you have to be careful to make sure that you're actually engaging the glute when you're doing it. There is a way to artificially externally rotate the hip, or at least think you're externally rotating the hip and engaging the glute, but in reality, you're really just pushing your knee out. So I want to talk about the difference between that and the difference between actually engaging the glute and what you're wanting to look for as you're going down the mound. So to start off, external rotation is the knee going outside of the hip. Internal rotation would be the knee caving in this way. Think about if I was pitching that way towards home plate, internal rotation would be my knee crashing towards home, okay? So a lot of times when guys hear, okay, I want to externally rotate my back hip, or I want my knee or my shin to be more vertical, they think about their knee just going out. Me just having my knee go out is not engaging my glute. When in reality, when I'm going down the mound, I'm going to pitch, I want to think about screwing my back foot into the ground, counter rotating it towards second base without actually moving it. And what that's going to do is it's going to really engage everything from the ground up into my glute. And from there, all I'm going to think about doing is sitting into that back hip and riding down the mound with my back hip swiveling towards home plate, okay? So, and be careful to think about not caving the knee too soon, because a lot of guys will think they have to cave their knee and just crash immediately this way, when in reality, I'm just using my quad and I'm not actually using my glute when I do that. So think about really sitting into that hip, screwing the foot into the ground, and just pulling that hip towards home plate while I keep my shin vertical. So it's going to look something like this. Okay, so that's just a little tip when you're working on engaging the back glute more and actually engaging it rather than just thinking you're externally rotating the hip by having your knee go back towards second. Important part of the pitching delivery is being able to have hip-shoulder separation. In order to have hip-shoulder separation, you have to learn to actually separate your hips from your upper half. Seems pretty self-explanatory, right? But a lot of guys that I'll work with and guys that I hear from, they don't know how to get their hips to open up before their upper body rotates. So one simple drill that you can do is just to grab a PVC pipe or a wood stick like this, have it out in front of you right here, and all you're going to focus on is keeping your shoulders in place and just rotate your hips side to side, okay? The better you can get at this, the more it's going to transfer to your throwing. Okay, so I'm trying to separate those hips from the shoulders as much as I can. It's going to work on the thoracic spine mobility, which you can also do drills for that as well. But this is just a standing version to actually feel the hips rotating without the shoulders moving. Give this a try and let me know what you think.